Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Appreciate it as always. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. If you get a second, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps out tremendously. Go check out, again, apologies for the Natalie Esquire video. I fixed it. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. A lot of people really enjoyed that one. But I want to talk a little actual WNBA fever basketball instead of drama. Although I guess there might be a little bit of drama as we've got a lot of players and not as many roster spots. But we got our first look at the rookies. Now it's not just the rookies. You can see Aaliyah Boston here doing helping out. And Caitlin Clark's in this as well. It's just a short clip. You see the Rooks finally getting to work as the Indiana Fever gear up for the 2025 championship run. You can see them working in. You've got Caitlin Clark in there delivering some passes as well. That's the one I wanted to show you. Or no, was it that one? I mean, she got up on that one, but there's also a lob where Makayla Timpson. That's right there. That's great hands. I want you to all think back. I want to go back again. Did I go back too far? It- That grab, and I'm going to show you a couple other clips as well. Makayla Timpson, from everything I've been able to check out, has great hands to go along with the athleticism, right? To be long, to be able to get up like that and control that ball. Makayla Timpson is on this team and she gets time. Caitlin Clark is going to love throwing her the basketball because, as you saw right there, she has a huge catch radius. For those who not sure what I mean by that, it's really usually talked about with wide receivers in the NFL. Wide receivers, or I shouldn't even say wide receivers. It could be tight ends, whatever. They have a huge catch radius. It means quarterbacks can throw the ball in certain areas to them that you couldn't throw to another receiver, and they're going to make that catch. Whether it's because they just have a long reach, they have a high vertical, they also have great hands. That whole combination, and I think we see that from Makayla Timpson. And you see that in this one coming right there. I mean, she gets up to get her hand on that, collects it, and finishes as well, which is really impressive. So I wanted to just go into a few things of what the roster is going to look like. I won't spend a ton of time on that. I'll do a deep dive right before the season more on the roster, but I really want to focus a little bit on Makayla Timpson because, as you'll see when I do the roster, I think she's those question mark spots. I think she's the most likely to get one of those spots. So if we can dig in here as soon as I can find it. There we go. So just real quick, if you, as you can see, I mean, she was a double-double player last year, right? Almost 18 points, almost 11 rebounds. She shoots really well, as you can see from the field. So she's shooting from close, obviously, right? She doesn't take threes. She's not a three-point shooter. But look at her shooting percentages, right? 62%, 58%, 57%, 54%. Look at her blocks. Remember I talked about like Caitlin with her points and her assists in college, up, 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 up. Same thing with Makayla Timpson on her blocks. On her points too, by the way, increased every season. Her blocks increased every wow. And man, I was just going to focus on the points and blocks, but even though the other numbers are there, but you look at this, rebounds increased every season of all four years in college. Steals increased every season, all 4 years of college. Blocks increased every season, all 4 years of college. So did turnovers, but we're gonna skip that. Points increased every season, all 4 years of college. So I want to go through a couple of things here. I just thought this was interesting. I don't know why I just did that, but this is Makayla getting drafted. This is when she finds out
The Indiana Fever selecting Makayla Timpson.
They all seem kind of happy about that. I gotta admit, I mean, one reason I wanted to show this is just because obviously the joy, they're all really excited, and I have to admit a little bit of an ulterior motive because I also see this and I see, a number of tan people there as well who seem thrilled that Makayla Timpson just got drafted by the Indiana Fever and that awful, awful, terrible, no good, very bad fan base that they have, which is, I find kind of odd that they would be excited about that. But yeah, so then I wanted to show you just two really good clips because one thing I was talking about again, the catch radius and her hands, and you can see that. And here's one clip you can see that in. I'm going to just show you a couple of clips, right? Her ability to keep that ball in play, make the pass to a teammate, and get something out of it on what would be to most players a turnover. And then we have another one here. I think this is it as well. Similar thing. Now this is in traffic and this is coming down with it. She just has that right, gets up, she's got good hands. She takes the physicality, then initiates it again for the finish, which is also really, really impressive. So Makayla Timpson has a lot of attributes from a player that I would want going into the season. Okay. And that's why I think she is most likely going to be the player that makes the team. If we run down the roster, okay, here's what we get. We have a lot of guards on the team. I know a lot of people were saying how much they like whom I just completely blank. Bree, I'm sorry, Bree, how much they liked Bree Hall, right? But Bree Hall is a guard. Okay. And we have a team with a lot of guards, right? If we roll down what these 15 are, we've got Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Bree Hall, Sydney Colson, all guards. Duana Bonner listed as a forward guard. Now, I know Sophie will probably do the same thing that Lexi can do, which is play sort of that three, that small forward sort of guard position. You can see a lot of three guard sets for the Indiana Fever, but still, even not including Bonner, you're talking about 6 guards on a team that will probably carry 11, not 12 because of salary cap issues, although we never know what could happen and might fix that. Lexi Hull might get traded for a 2026 and a 2027 first round pick. Maybe they'll reunite her with Angel Reese in Chicago. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just making the point that something could happen. But if nothing happens other than they're taking the players from this camp, from this 15, no trades. Most likely, Bree Hall is not going to be part of that because, well, just because of numbers and because she's a guard, right? They have a lot of teams. So if they go with what I'm thinking they're going to go with, they're going to take 5. They'll have 5 guards out of the 11 players, and Bonner, who's a forward slash guard, probably should most likely play that 3. But then again, even that's crowded because you got Lexi Hull who can play that. You've got Sophie Cunningham, you can play that. But most likely for me, here is the team that is going to go into the season. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Sydney Holson, Dewana Bonner, Natasha Howard, Aaliyah Boston, Brianna Turner, Damiris Dantas, and Makayla Timpson will be the rookie, and of course that will leave. Now, that is my guess. They may decide that they need another center with, Jillian Elaine, but she's a center slash forward. I think Dantas, who's listed just as a forward, is someone who could play that. She could be someone that subs in for Aaliyah Boston. I also think with the way this team plays and what they have, you can do very well with the Indiana Fever where you don't actually have a traditional center in there. I think Makayla Timpson plays taller than she is. Obviously, she's a defensive presence. She blocks a lot of shots. And her vertical for me is incredibly impressive. If you've listened to me, you watch my videos and listen to me for a while, you know that I talk about how that's something that's just not part of the WNBA, especially anyone who's not a guard, right? Caitlin Clark can get up. If anyone has seen her when she really wants to, right? When that ball gets stuck on the rim in there, wedged between the rim and backboard, I've Caitlin Clark's gone up off 2 feet and knocked that out as a 6 foot guard. But you don't have a lot of bigs in the WNBA who can get off the ground. And Makayla Timpson can get off the ground. And vertical leap is one of. I mean, you can't point to any one thing and say that does it, but it is one of the most widely used attributes for people evaluating athletes in terms of just their overall athleticism. Most likely, players with a great vertical are explosive players. They're quick players. They're fast players because it's that force you put into the ground that allows you to do that same type of force that's used for your change of direction, that's used for your quickness, that's used for your explosive first step. Makayla Timpson has all of that. She has really impressed me in what I've seen of her going back and looking at these clips and looking at how she plays the game. It's one of those things for me, I'm looking at this like, I don't get, is it bad scouting? Does the WNBA not put any money into scouting? I'm not sure what it is. I don't understand how Makayla Timpson dropped all the way to 19 and they allowed the Indiana Fever of all teams to draft her. That is absolutely wild to me. So yeah, that is the team. Now look, for me, if you wanted, could someone else stay instead of say Brianna Turner? Could Yvonne Ajim be the player? For me, yes, but I don't think they're going to do that, right? Like I don't think they bring in someone like Brianna Turner and then they're going to cut her. So again, most likely for me, what I think the Fever will do, because I could also see for me again. Now she's got to impress, but I'm just saying for me going into this camp, if I'm running things, Brianna Turner doesn't have a guaranteed spot, and neither does Sydney Colston, and they could lose out to the rookies or lose out to someone like Jalen Brown. But I'm saying most likely what I think the Fever are doing. I know you're probably like, I've said it a million times. Last thing, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Sydney Colson. Those are my guards. Dewana Bonner, Natasha Howard, Brianna Turner, Demiris Dantas, Makayla Timpson, Aaliyah Boston, those are my big. That for me is the team most likely headed into the 2025 season opener against the Chicago Sky, right? That is the season opener. Yes, yes. Okay. If I got that wrong, you can yell at me in the comments. That's no problem. But I'm pretty sure I got that one right. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I just think that it's Makayla Timpson has a spot to lose. Let me put it that way. I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone else who was signed late or drafted to break into a team of 11. If they go with 12, who's that going to be? Well, maybe we'll do that in another video because I will do as we get into training camp and head into the season. I'll do more of a deep dives on how the team looks, what we expect, who's going to play where, minutes, all that stuff. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you later.